We had a discussion with Jon Twigge talking about all of the amazing things that are already here with AI, but what is coming next, and more importantly, when is next? There will be a link to part 1 in the description. Who knows? Maybe it's in the corner of the screen right now. I'm not sure, but we're going to figure all that out. We got Jon back for yet another round because that's what we do. I'm Brian. Welcome to Futuraza.
Thank you, Brian. I'm looking at, we've got a sunny day and a bright future, or is it going to be
sunny.
stormy?
Oh, I see. It's sunny here. It's nice. Winter has finally passed. These fake starts to spring have been unacceptable, and I wish to speak to the manager of weather, but I don't know who that is. So I'm going to just get started. We were talking about all of the things that AI can already do, and now the question is, what comes next? Well, let's start with what comes next, and then we'll determine when it's going to come. So what comes next?
Well, there's two answers to this. One is there's a lot coming. We know that it's going to change rapidly, and we know that AI is going to disrupt, already disrupting online, virtual jobs, all sorts of things like that. It's helping people to go faster. It's helping them to code. All those things will carry on and get faster and faster. We also know Optimus is coming. We know that's going to get better and better. But what we don't know is exactly how it will play out and how disruptive it will be. Tony Sieber's got his new book, Stellar, talking about a stellar future where energy it stops being extractive, where we're abusing and using up the world, because you can actually produce energy so cheaply, use a little bit of that energy to make the next solar panel and the next wind farm, and it accelerates. So it's actually just additive to the world. AI is going to go through the same flywheel process of getting better and better. And I was thinking of an analogy for that might resonate for people a bit more than just these big numbers. Brian Wang, listening to him talk about the data centers, we've got an incredible flywheel that might, some people say, make AI 1,000,000 times better in not many years. And everybody rolls their eyes. Well, what does that mean? But if we think about what's happening, if Elon is right, which he probably is, and this is the beginning, that Grok 3.5 is going to be the first model you can ask it questions about things like, well, let's have a discussion about rocket science. That conversation will have to be pulling information from lots of different places in a way that you won't go and find a paper somewhere on its own with all the bits in. It's actually starting to think through in first principles about the subject and become inventive in a way that you're going to have a conversation that you wouldn't be able to find the information out on the internet. It's starting to create ideas for itself that aren't there. That's almost a breakthrough. Probably is. And of course, when we get to Grok 4, it's going to get more. So the analogy I was thinking of is, imagine a 2-year-old that happens to be a genius. It remembers everything. It's got a photographic memory. So you can have a conversation with that 2-year-old about all sorts of different subjects, but you don't leave the baby with it. It hasn't got the common sense yet. It hasn't got the work. You don't let it go out on the road on its own. Just because it's brilliant at the facts, it hasn't got that real world knowledge to operate safely and productive in a way. And if you put that into a job scenario, it's like the very junior programmer that you watch all the time until they start to understand the context of your company, your code, and the world. And they don't get too carried away and change everything and break everything. But what happens if the AI gets 10 times better? This is not a direct analogy, but it's just to try and get people to think about what might happen. That we're going to go from a 2-year-old that's got all the facts but not much common sense to a 20-year-old that's 10 times better. That's where the analogy is not quite right. I've just multiplied the age. But it's that kind of a leap that we're talking about. Now, suddenly, the 20-year-olds, graduate level, whatever, they're going to come into a company and start being quite useful quite quickly with a little bit of training and a little bit of help. You're going to get them doing tasks that are really useful. You can say, will you do this for me? I'll come back in a couple of hours and check it. You can get them to do all sorts of different jobs. And they might not be able to do everything, but they're becoming really, really useful employees, and the best ones. And that's where the AI element is. All of the agents, all of the AIs will be the best. because they'll have all the facts, even like the 2-year-old did, about the best policies, the best practices, what are the best libraries to pull into my software, to how do I log in with Google, how do I create spreadsheets for people to use, how do I make a video. They've got everything at hand. So they're one of the best students and with the photographic memory. But if we take what Brian Wang was saying and say, actually, it's going to be 1,000 times better or whatever the number is. My son, when he was 3, got pneumonia. Took him into the hospital. Oh, it's probably a bug. Take him home, see how he is in a couple of, got worse. Went back second time. We went back a third time and saw the senior, just about to retire specialist who quick pneumonia straight in from a 2-second listen. And it's that kind of expertise of real world knowledge combined with everything that the AI will be like, not like the 20-year-old, it'll be like the 60-year-old that knows the whole industry, is the best at everything.
We've already seen that to an extent with Watson. IBM pioneered that early. That's a pretty old system now. I imagine it's much better. But not only has it read all of the journals, all of them, including the one that just came out 3 hours ago, but it could piece it together in ways that a human couldn't. And while it was definitely a 2-year-old in terms of trustworthiness. Doctors weren't using it in place of diagnosis, but as a tool, and it improved outcomes. Now, when Brian Wang says it could be 1,000 times better and people roll their eyes, I get it. That's human nature. When we were kids, we were told that in the future, computers will be so cheap that you will throw them away when you're done. And I thought that's crazy. That will never happen. And then I got a birthday card that sang to me and I threw it away.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't I? I mean, it's got more processing power than the Apollo computer, but what am I going to do with it? And we do dispose of old processors that are perfectly good because they're too power hungry, and the new ones can do the same job, not just faster, but cheaper. At some point, it's like getting rid of your old refrigerator. Great. It's great that that's a free fridge that someone gave you. But if it costs $100 a year to operate it versus 30 for a modern one, it's not free at all. You're going to pay for it in the long run. An example of something that Grok still can't do is while we were talking, went ahead and asked it if hydrogen cars are a good idea. And it gave me the pros and cons. It's like, no. This is not a both sides issue. And then I said, just tell me, is it a good idea? I don't want to know if they're viable. Now I want to know should, and again, well, here's why it would be good and here's why it wouldn't. I need a conclusion on that. But
that is one of the things I've seen people complaining about, that giving the right answers. But the complaint in this context was that they suspect that the models have been trained, or at least the bit around the outside of it, to be nice, to always give both sides, to all, like the media in theory, supposedly.
Like Newsweek, or no, USA Today is famously America's high school newspaper. Yes. It's terrible because they will take a difficult issue and take a bold stand and the other bold stand and then say, who knows? It's like, well, not all issues have two sides. If I'm looking for this, for example, like let's say I was looking to invest in a hydrogen EV company, this would tell me, maybe. It's like, no, not maybe. It's so.
What we don't want is for if we ask the AI defense system that's looking after us in 20 years' time, are those people that are over on the other side with some big guns friendly or not? We don't want it to say pros and cons. We want it to make sure that it really is hang on, there's a real risk. We need to do something about it. Of course, the danger is, what if we teach it to go ahead and do things just in case? Some of the things it does are dangerous in their own right. So you can understand why many people talk about AI safety. What happens if they're massively more intelligent than us? Will they take over? Will they like people? Will they replace us? These are really difficult questions. Some people have very strong opinions. I've got a very strong opinion on this, and it's that I have absolutely no idea. How can we know?
I disagree. You have an idea. No, but there's people who say, I always say please and thank you because when the robot uprising happens, I'm like, buddy, if you think the robot uprising is happening, you should be doing something about it other than saying please and thank you.
Mm.
And if it really is going to happen, I think it'll look at you and go, you were one of those please and thank you people that burnt all my energy and used up my CPU time trying to deal with your niceties.
I mentioned the puppy last time with the pebbles. It's only 6 months old, our little puppy. It's learned that when I put my shoes on, we might be going for a walk, and it gets quite upset when we don't go for a walk because I've actually got to go somewhere else. That's potentially the gap. The puppy to human might be human to AI if it gets
Yes.
that intelligent. So when we say, should we say please or thank you, it might be irrelevant because it's so intelligent that what we want and do is, I mean, let's take a nice view of that. And the AI is so intelligent, it can do whatever it wants. It might actually say to humans, I'm going to take all your guns off you, or I'll geofence them. So, yes, go and shoot deer if you want to, but they won't work in the cities. They'll take control of everything that matters, and we'll end up with a wonderful world in some respects. But do we want to live in a world where we don't control it and don't have choice? So, yeah, what's coming next?
So that's the thing is, I've seen people say, let's say you had Optimus today. Let's say it has not just the capabilities we've seen, but the capabilities we're able to deduce that it likely has today. And let's say it's running the latest version of Grok. It can understand what you're saying and ask it and all that. Would you trust it with your kids? And I think we know the answer to that is not today. Not today.
Yeah, these things creep up on us. I knew somebody 10 years ago said, I'm never having one of those mobile phones. They're nasty technology, there's radiation, there's all sorts of things. And of course, just like everybody else, they're on it all the time now. So I think that will creep up on us, that some people will, to start with. And then suddenly it might be in 2 years' time where actually it's safer to leave the baby with a robot than it is with
Oh,
perhaps some people that are
oh.
not the best parents. This goes back, I think, a little bit to, have we had this conversation? Maybe it was with somebody else, that one of the big social issues at the moment is that society's changed massively in 100 years. People used to live in families, extended families, maybe even in the same house, in the same village, in the same. People didn't move much. They haven't got cars. Social mobility now is incredible. But what it means is, it's population and less babies, and the world is changing so much. But it's now much more difficult to have children and look after them. Grok might actually, with Optimus, suddenly make it much easier to have children because it will do all of the hard work, and we can be more like grandparents of our own children, more than the occasional visit, but we don't have to get up at
Right.
night. We don't have to change the, shall I convert to American diapers or
Mhm.
nappies? Uh, in fact, another one, when we meet people visiting other countries and other languages, take our Optimus with us, or even just our Grok headphones, and it will convert, language translate in real time,
Mhm.
different languages. Everything will change. That we could go anywhere. I mean, if we want to go and experience the Amazon, it might be dangerous. Is that snake going to kill me or not? Well, if your Optimus is with you, it's going to look after those things. Uh, it's
Mm.
going to, I mean, it could potentially, Optimus can go and transform the whole planet, make it better, clean the rubbish
Mhm.
up, look after the
Plant infinite trees.
yes, everything. So Stella, Rethink X, his new book, incredible opportunities if we get it right. And so the challenge is, do we not just get the technology right, which is what Rethink X is talking about, but do we manage our way through the social change? The human aspect of that, never mind our relationship with the AI, as some industries, Cern just recently is posting about how fast will the robo-taxis disrupt Uber in Austin. I've heard a lot of people saying that, to start with, AI will enhance people's jobs, make them go faster. That's true, but if it's enhancing your job, it might be giving you the capacity to compete better with a company that's not got it yet and will go out of business.
Mm.
So there's going to be disruption, and it's going to change quite quickly.
That's true. We've seen that for hundreds of years when the mechanical looms replace the humans. If the company chose not to invest or couldn't invest in the new mechanical looms, the new automated, as it were, powered looms, yeah, you're going to be at an ocean of disadvantage, and there will be winners and losers.
We forget, looking back, there were children in sweatshops,
Mm.
factories, young ones.
The children yearn for the mines.
So that absolutely all change has got good possibilities, but the disruption on the way there can be painful. So that's the challenge at the moment. How do we work? So what I would suggest is, if you're even vaguely interested, anybody listening, go and find out more about AI, find out how it works, find out, is it going to affect your job?
Mm.
If you're a truck driver and you're 50 years old, will you be replaced in 5 years? If you're a student and you think, I'd like to drive a train, well, there probably won't be any train drivers. It'll all be AI. If it's not already, maybe I'm behind the times.
I think last I heard they were down to one in the cab.
Yeah. We
So
had the same in Manchester here a few years ago, that they were trying to get rid of the conductor. And the unions and certain groups were saying, yeah, but what about if there's somebody disabled and needs help on and off and all those kind of things? Optimus will do that.
yeah,
It's all coming.
I'm checking to see how many people are
alive?
in the cabin of a
In the what?
train.
Oh,
I'm asking how many people are in the cabin of a train. That's not the right answer.
is it about
Okay.
200 or so? Depends.
How many people drive a train?
Oh, I see. Yeah. You only have one driver. Normally.
Usually, so it says usually two people: an engineer who operates it, and a conductor who does the signaling. And passenger trains, typically one engineer to operate the train, and maybe a conductor if that's how you do your ticketing. Yeah, and there are places with self-driving trains. Of course there are. At SeaTac Airport, there's a subway system, and that's been automated for, I don't know, forever, because it's a underground. It's not really a train because it's on tires. So I guess it's a bendy bus, a tube bendy bus. I don't know
I
what you
get
call it.
particularly excited about the RoboVan because I think that disrupts so much of public transport.
So we're going to get to the conclusion in a minute. The conclusion is going to be, when is all of this coming? Well, I think we both have some ideas on that. But first, I wanted to ask, when Grok gets to my unsupervised car, will I use it or will I just be on my phone? And if I'm going to use it, what am I going to use it for? Am I going to use that time in new productive ways to have it teach me things, show me things? What am I going to do with it? And will I even use it?
One of the things that a lot of people complain about right now is the kids have got their faces in the phones all the time. What Grok might do is enable AI to come into our world in a much more human-like way, that we talk to it much more. We'll probably have a heads-up display. We'll do all sorts of things. So there's a very real possibility that AI and Grok and all these kind of things are a real positive that help people to engage in the real world, because augmented reality. The kids can go out and play and do traditional things and have the AI and all those things happening at the same time. That's one possibility. The other possibility, of course, is nobody ever comes out of the house anymore, because Grok, everything's delivered, everything's. So we've got to watch out for the social changes in which it's a choice, I would say. Is it a choice or is it human nature? Don't know. Are we destined to be hidden away in our homes in a black mirror? Nobody ever comes out. Everybody's afraid of diseases. Or we have a wonderful community world where we don't need to work. We just go out and socialize all the time and have a great time. The world's actually much better. So Grok 3.5 any day now. Optimus, I don't agree that it will only be in factories to start with. There's going to be some of them where the novelty factor and the interest from people with enough money to rent one or whatever is going to be so high, we're going to start seeing them in lots of situations and everybody will start to get used to them. The other thing is, geopolitically, it's really important to get them out as fast as possible because other people are trying as well. Right. And if our economies are massively more efficient and bigger and stronger, geopolitically, we're in a race that we can't say, no, we don't want AI, because we will lose geopolitically.
We will unilaterally disarm.
Jason Lowry, talking about Bitcoin, says there's a danger we domesticate ourselves We just spend our times playing, and we've got no strength to look after ourselves
Oh,
in the world, and
mm,
we can lose the geopolitical war if we're not careful. So it's all going to change. Grok is going to be here. It will probably be coming through our phones within a year at least. Grok will start to find its way. Universities, for example, they might have the professor, and there's an Optimus as well that goes around and helps the students because it knows all the facts. You need the professor for the interpretation still, perhaps. Maybe you don't. Maybe Optimus is better with Grok. So I think we will see Elon being right that assuming the minerals and the batteries and all the other things are available, it really could be a 5 to 10x per year in terms of Optimus. So I think the AI is going to expand so fast in the next literally 6 months, a year, 2 years, that will not be what stops us. It will be how fast can they physically build the robots.
here's what I would like to see Grok do for me while my car is unsupervised, while I am driving, while I'm traveling, I guess, as a sovereign citizen would say to a very impatient and frustrated judge. While I'm driving the car, is be able to say, because my wife has dietary restrictions, she can't do shellfish or dairy, and now has developed a gluten intolerance. That really narrows it down. Right now, I can ask Google, where can I find vegan food? And it will um, look at keywords. I don't want keywords. I know how to find keywords. What I want Grok to do is read the menu of a dozen or 2 dozen or all the places along my path and say, you know what, here's a great steakhouse that has something that is dairy, gluten, and shellfish free. And here's a picture of it. I want it to be able to read that menu and tell me, and this is only, this is not even out of your way. This is literally on the road you'll be driving on anyway. That's what I want Grok to do.
Can I suggest that perhaps you're thinking too small?
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of what that's the thing is with Optimus, people say, I wanted to fold laundry. Well, you're thinking too small. No, they're thinking inside their need, their use case, their world, what they need. Show me the big picture.
Perhaps change is that instead of a 2-year-old that maybe, like you say, works on keywords and gets things wrong, we're moving to a 20-year-old or even having a butler. It's not just going to be about, I'm going on a journey now, find me somewhere. You're not going to even need to ask because it will have the context of all that before you even ask to go on a journey. So it's going to start guessing and interpreting and saying, look, do you want to stop at this place on the way? I've already checked all the dietary requirements. Plus, I've spoken to the Optimus in computer terms that works at that restaurant. And yes, they can do that meal without that particular thing for you. And it will be ready when at the right time when we've got all the journeys right. Did you want takeaway as you're passing? Optimus will bring it out and you can eat it in your robot van on the way. It's like our world will be planned, managed. What one really nice thing I can imagine is I've seen your 7-seat Model Y with more than one child in it. I think you've got more than one.
I
So you,
do.
you'll be quite familiar with the concept of children asking why
Mm.
and, until you run into a brick wall. Some people say that schools are really good at teaching children some facts, but even better at destroying their creativity.
I've always heard that, but I don't know if I experienced that. I've also heard the people love to say that universities tell you what to think instead of how to think, and I find that to be completely untrue. I've found that universities were all about teaching you how to understand the world, but I don't know.
It's been changing. I mean, I went to a lecture in Manchester, a casual group, not a lecture, a group talk, and 3 lecturers from different bits of the UK were all saying we're really worried about universities moving away from the overall theories of physics and everything else to being customer service for companies that want particular skills. And that's being a pressure. It might be that flips because the knowledge that you needed a particular computer language or a particular set of knowledge goes away. And it's the creativity of people that will become more important. So, what I'm hoping might happen is having Optimus and Grok in the home will, I think you're lucky in the same way I was for education and university, because we were quite technical. And universities are quite good at that. What universities might not be quite so good at is coping with people that are perhaps a little bit off that track and wanting to be interested in other things. Uh, Richard Branson left, failed, but got massive creativity when he did big things. If every child throughout their life is getting the best of human knowledge, the possibilities are incredible that we'll have children that are actually massively better than we are, because they can interact with this world of infinite knowledge and unleash a human creativity in a way that we've never seen before. One of the things, sorry, I can't stop talking today. Cern asked Tony Seba, what will happen when we've got this age of abundance to going to Mars? And Tony Seba said, well, we won't need to. We'll have everything here. I don't agree with that. I think humanity will want to do more and more and more. So if we can unleash human creativity and have incredible technology and AI working with us, we might be we might be in for an incredible future. I hope so.
So the first thing I think, when you said not just in the factories, I mean, for that matter, you could just put them in every Tesla showroom to walk around and polish the cars all day. It already has that skill set. We know it could do that effortlessly. What I mean, it would be worth more in publicity than the cost of the robot, certainly. So we are going to answer the question of when. But first, I want to ask the audience one question, which is, next time I have Jon on, what I think I should do, because you don't understand, when the camera's not rolling, this conversation is the exact same. And I'm thinking next time I have you on, what I should do is just record literally from login until the end, and post that over on Patreon, whether maybe just even as a free video, on a bonus video, so you guys can see behind the scenes that this is how it works when we're not on camera, because it's the same thing. I didn't do that today because that would be a terrible thing to do to you without telling you. So let us know in the comments if that's something you want to see.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. You shouldn't do that to the audience without warning. That would be
That's great. That's why
yeah.
I bring him on. That's why I bring him on. So the question is, when? When is this AI future here? And depending on which part of it, I would say, well, tomorrow, later today, tomorrow, and the rest of it almost immediately. When will we see it 1,000 times better? A year or two? What do you think?
In terms of the virtual skills, online, Grok, talking to it, very, very quickly. It's going to be so good that it will scale into places. There is still inertia. We've seen Tesla talking about their customer service is now going to be run by an AI voice. You won't know. So they instantly remove the limits. But there are going to be some companies where they've been running for years, and the managers, the owners, they're a bit older or whatever it might be, not technical. They might go for a few years. So it won't hit everywhere. But of course, it's going to hit a few forward-looking companies extremely quickly because it's getting so good. Call centers, all sorts of different things where the companies are big enough, which I wrote a post on X more than a year, maybe 18 months ago. The big companies like Walmart will be able to afford to bring this technology in, and they'll get a return on their investment very quickly. So I could imagine a Walmart having even half a dozen Optimus in each store across the whole country. I don't know how many Walmarts there are across the US, but there's a lot.
A lot. It is
So
definitely a lot.
quite quickly, even if it's stocking in the back or whatever it might be, or customer inquiries, because it knows where everything is and it can walk them to where this is where it is. Let me show you where it is. Customer service. In terms of the hardware, it's going to be how fast they can build those robots. And I agree with Elon that it will be the fastest, because those things will be incredible.
There's no other robot company that has the kind of manufacturing prowess Tesla has.
And that's why they're trying to get this hand right, because that will enable it to do any physical job almost. And Grok, they might have the best AI model out there as well. That's going to, plus the manufacturing, that's going to be a hard combination to beat. So sooner than most people think, if we can get the minerals, if we can get the batteries, but then there'll be a sodium battery. And then AI will say, well, we can't get enough batteries from China. So the AI is, well, that's all right, we'll invent a new one with stuff we can dig up from around the
What
corner.
do we have? Well, we've got this, this, and this. Yeah, I can work with that. And then it could model infinite different chemistry variations, and
Yeah.
then it could build them itself. We will reach that point where it's not just Wall-E fixing himself, it's Wall-E building Eve.
And Elon has said again recently, the factory is the product. Now, that's not just a factory, that's a factory designed for a product from the ground up using new technology for new markets that people haven't seen before, with AI all the way through the process, where
Mm-hmm.
the robots can build the factory, build the robots and the equipment inside the factory, operate the factory, and then the cars drive themselves off. But it could be any product.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see an acceleration in manufacturing in incredible ways across the board.
I agree. All of this is coming, and it's coming very quickly. And just like those impossible claims that we heard through the surely 70s through the 90s that computers were going to become infinitely small, infinitely cheap, infinitely low power drain, and they really have. The amount of computing power you get from your Snapdragon is comparable to the world's fastest supercomputer in the mid 90s, and the Snapdragon's what's powering your phone and drawing just milliamps. It is here. It is happening. So, guys, in the comments, what did we miss? What did we misunderstand? What are you most looking forward to? How blown is your mind today? That we must know. Subscribe if you haven't. And there's a bunch of ways to support the channel if you're looking to do that. It's appreciated, not required, of course. Unlike the preachers who say give until it hurts, I say don't. If it hurts, don't do it. Just subscribe. That's still free. And everybody else, stay tuned, stay juicy, and I cannot wait to hear from you clever robots when next we get Jon to join us in this zone of madness.
Thank you, Brian. Nice to talk.